Welcome to another reading vlog. I'm so excited to be getting ready for the Starfall Ball. This year for Romantasyathon, which is a readathon hosted by Tori from Tori Between Pages, we are going to be gathering all of the things that we need to attend a ball at the end of the week. We're going to be seeing what we're going to wear, who we're going to bring, what weapon we're going to have strapped to our thigh, and I cannot wait for this week. I'm so excited and so grateful that Tori asked me to participate. I cannot wait to read all of the Romantasy things. It's going to be the best reading week. I can just feel it. I don't yet know what I'm going to be reading for the first prompt. Actually, I lied. I do know what I'm going to be reading for the first prompt. But let me back up, because for the prompts for this year, she is going to be doing little like graphics that go with each of the prompts, because for each section there are 4 different things you can choose from. And I'm waiting on today's to drop because I want to see what I'm choosing. It might change my mind depending on what prompt goes with what thing. So for today, no matter what, I think I'm gonna have to go with my first prompt being Storm of Secrets and Shadows. I did not quite finish this last week, and so we're gonna roll it over into today. This is the second book in the Reign of Shadow and Endings, the Legacy series, and I have been having the best time with it. We'll go over kind of all of my thoughts and what this book is about here shortly, but the first book was a reread for me, and I enjoyed it so much more on reread. I don't know what was wrong with Past Me. I don't know what I was thinking or what I was sleeping on, but I really enjoyed it on my second go around, and I'm having a really good time with book 2 as well. I have about 2 hours left of it, so I will definitely finish that, and then we'll be moving into whatever my next book will be. Quite possibly the Zodiac Academy. This is the 3rd book in the Zodiac series. I'm probably going to be buddy reading this with Cassidy and Claire. This is a make it or break it book for me though, because I don't know if I'm going to be continuing the series, and I need to decide after reading this book. I have liked each book better as it's gone along, so I'm hoping that this one will be a win for me. I've also heard this is the book where people really start to fall in love with it, and where the whole like series kind of finds its footing. And so I'm very excited to read this, but I am picking chunky boys this week. So wish me luck. We're gonna see what the first drop is and what everything looks like, and then we'll go from there. We have sprints in like 2 hours or so. So I am going to go get cozied up and ready for the best week of reading. I want to do a quick check-in before I continue on into Storm of Secrets and Shadows. I'm about 65% of the way into this so far. This is the second book in the Legacy series, which is following Tessa, who is Fae in a world where Fae are used to service legacies, and legacies are essentially demigods, the children or the descendants of the children of gods, essentially. And they have a lot more powers, and so Fae are used mostly to just do things throughout the kingdom, but they actually have less rights than even humans. And the like ruling families can take sources, which are Fae that they use to draw power from to replenish their magic, essentially. And Tessa knows that she is not going to be a source. She's managed to go under the radar, but one of the kingdoms who had not yet selected a source decides to choose her, and her world is turned completely upside down, and she is forced into something that she never actually wanted. The first book, and continuing, has a little bit of like consent, non-consent. I wouldn't say that it's completely non-consensual in like a sexual nature, but it's definitely, the undertones are there. So if that's something that really bothers you or a trigger for you, then probably don't want to read this book. I reread the first book last week and enjoyed it much more on reread. I was able to pick up on a little more of the nuances and thought that this was just something that was very unique and not a story that I had read before. I definitely picked up some things from Lady of Darkness as well after having finished that, and was enjoying it quite a lot. Now we've moved into book 2, and so far I'm really enjoying it as well. There are parts that feel like it's moving just a little bit slowly for me. I kind of want the plot to start moving forward some, or at the very least I want to see a little bit more of the romance, but right now we kind of feel like we're cruising on the same plane that we were on in Reign of Shadow and Endings, and I need a little bit more to be happening. I just really want more of the romance overall. I think it could be really good, but we're just kind of skirting the surface, and like there's hints of things, but the things haven't actually happened, and I'm like, give it to me, I need it. I do like the addition of the brother's point of view. I think that's been really fun. We have had characters show up from Lady of Darkness, and even though you don't have to read Lady of Darkness to read this one, you won't know like more about those characters unless you've read it. I don't really think they needed to be there. If we're being completely transparent, it was one of those like show up, give you all the information, and then peace out kind of things, and I feel like it could have been done differently, and it was really just there to kind of give Easter eggs to Lady of Darkness readers, and I like Lady of Darkness a lot, but I don't know, that's not my favorite thing when books do that. So right now I'm having a really good time with it. I'm enjoying seeing how everything is unfolding. I'm loving like the banter and the snark, and I just keep saying this, but the different relationships that are forming, I'm so excited to see how that plays out. I have 2 hours left of the audiobook, so I should be able to finish it very soon. I finally managed to finish Storm of Secrets and Sorrows. I have been on a binge, and I have had a very hard time pulling myself away from this in order to read. So it is far, far later than I meant for it to be, but I've been watching The Resident, and it was supposed to just be this like quick show that I was gonna watch before bed, just a good like no brain kind of thing. And I became obsessed. Like, this show is so good. Working in the medical industry, like the medical stuff is actually pretty accurate, which never happens, but the like drama part of it, definitely not accurate at all. But I'm living for the drama. It has amazing characters. It has a good romance. Like, I am living. And in the last week, I have gone through 2.5 seasons. So yeah, it's taken me far too long to read. And now I'm trying to like dig myself away from that so that I can live in my romantasy life. But I'm struggling. So it's now 5 o'clock and I have just now finished the 2 hours that I needed to finish of Storm of Secrets and Shadows, but I did finish it and I liked the ending a lot. She definitely writes a solid ending. My main complaint on this is that it's a little bit too long. I think there was a lot that I felt like could have been concise down a little bit, and this is the way I felt throughout most of the Lady of Darkness books as well. So I think she's just a tad of a long-winded author, but I loved the way that all of the like character development came into play and all of the little things that I was annoyed about in the beginning and how all of that was shaping up in the end of the book. I think that the twist was really good and I'm excited for all of the new information that we learned. I want more romance though. I definitely think that it's coming based on the way that it ended. I think we're gonna get a lot more romance in book 3, and romance might be putting it strongly because they are toxic AF. Like, this couple, so incredibly toxic. I don't know if romance is really the right word, but I'm looking forward to how the relationship, I guess, is going to progress and what other things might come into play. That's all I'm gonna say on that because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm very, very excited for it. I think it's gonna be good. I don't know when I'm gonna be reading book 3, but honestly, hopefully sooner rather than later because the series ends. I think the 4th and final book comes out sometime this summer, so I can definitely finish it off pretty quickly, but I managed to get it done. As far as ratings go, I don't know. My gut tells me it's a 4-star, but I did really enjoy the ending. So we'll see what I end up giving it, but my gut right now says that it was a 4-star. Really enjoyed it, but definitely felt like it was a touch too long in my opinion. So now we're moving on to the 3rd book in the Zodiac Academy series, which is also a chunky boy. I'm gonna make a deal with myself and I'm gonna say that I have to read, what's a good number that I need to read? Because I'm like wanting to read. This is not me forcing myself to read. I actually do want to pick up books. I just want to watch The Resident more. So let's see. If I can get to like 50 pages, then I can watch an episode, and then 50 more pages and then an episode. Feels like a good bargaining tool, a good reward system. Maybe I'll be able to talk myself into that because we're like on a point where things are happening and there's trauma and people might be getting fired and people might be dying and like I need to know what's gonna happen. But also I need to read. So I'm gonna go grab my book. I just finished an episode. It ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, so my willpower is strong, but I'm gonna go get my book and I'm gonna try to get in those 50 pages. Before I leave, I wanted to show you guys what my dress is gonna be for the Starfall Ball. Of course, I went with black because the Storm of Secrets and Shadows, it has a black and green cover, but the green is definitely not as prominent, so I went with black, and I really struggled with all of the different options and what I could go with. Tori had a couple of really good options. They're over on her Instagram, but she said that we could look through Pinterest and like see if there was anything else that struck our fancy. And I was like, no, her options are great. And then I went down a Pinterest rabbit hole. Cassidy sent me one and said I should embrace the cowgirl vibes, and I definitely considered it because that dress is stunning. But I think what I'm gonna be wearing to the Starfall Ball, honestly, this dress that I could never pull off in real life because my legs are not long enough for that, but it is stunning. That high slit, yes. Thank you. The updo, incredible. So this is what I'm gonna be wearing, and I'm very excited to be seeing who I'm gonna be bringing. I'm about to get ready to lay down and just relax in bed for a little while, but I did manage to pull myself away from The Resident long enough to read 100 pages of Zodiac Academy. It's been a very long time since I read the first book, but this is following 2 twin sisters who are orphans living in, I believe, Chicago, when their life is ripped upside down and they find out that they are the heirs to a throne and that they're actually fae, and they're whisked away to Zodiac Academy where they are going to essentially have to fight for their lives, get to stay at Zodiac Academy and fight against these 5 heirs that think that they are going to get the throne when these 2 girls are actually the real heirs to the throne. And it's just very like I've heard it described as Winx vibes. It's also been described as like a tarot Harry Potter, although I hate to put Harry Potter connotations on it. It's just a silly, goofy time. When I read the first book, I really wasn't reading a lot of romantasy, and honestly, I did not have a very good time with it at all. I gave it like a 2.5 star, 2 star. But then I read book 2 because Lexi did a video where she basically forced me to unhaul a bunch of things, and she said if I did not read that book, then I had to unhaul it. So I did manage to read the second book in the series. Liked it a lot better. I was just able to have a good time, vibe, and enjoy it. Gave it a higher 3 star. So now I'm going to be moving on to book 3 and deciding if I'm going to continue on in the series. And this is supposed to be the make it or break it book for a lot of people, where the writing gets better, the world building gets expanded, the characters get good, the smut gets smuttier. And I've heard that the cliffhangers from here on out are brutal, and I have to be in the know. So far, I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's very just silly, goofy times. It's not taking itself too seriously, but I've been in that kind of mood recently, and so I've just been having fun with it. I definitely prefer Tori. She is my favorite of the twin sisters, although I think my favorite love interest is on Darcy's side. They definitely have, like, I don't know if it's going to be a why choose or if it's just a triangle, quadrilangle, however, whatever that would be. If there was more than a couple of people involved and they have different love interests, and one of the ones I'm team on Darcy's side, but I like Tori's character and her overall men better. Seth, the werewolf in this, is just icky. And I think that was a thing that really threw me off in the first book, is I don't like him. He's already showing his ickiness in this one, and I could do without him. But in honor of the multiple love interest, I am going to probably be going with the love triangle for my trope. So if you want to read a love triangle for your trope, because I love a good love triangle, and I've heard Servant of Earth has a love triangle, and people keep screaming at me to read that book, so I have to make it work. But if you want to read the love triangle book, then you have to read 2 books from Who to Bring. So this is one of those, and it's going to be my backlist book. She hasn't yet shared the graphics for Who We're Bringing yet, so once she does, I will scream about them with you guys. But then I also am going to attempt to do first in a series, so we'll see if I manage to get that done. If I don't, then I won't be reading the love triangle prompt, and I will just have to come up with a plan B, but I really do want to read that. So I'm enjoying this so far. I'm gonna snuggle up in bed, read a little bit more. It reads so incredibly quickly. Like, I flew through the first 100 pages in what felt like 30 minutes. It was longer than that, but it was really seriously fast. Today turned out to be a weirdly busy day when I actually didn't do much of anything. One of my light switches was messed up in my kitchen, and so my dad had to come over and fix that, and then I went and got some lunch, and anyway, I didn't get to sit down to read for a very long time, so I've only made it halfway into Zodiac Academy. But before we get into my thoughts on that, I have a very special prompt to share with you guys, and that is the bonus prompt, a book that you saw on socials. I will leave Tori's announcement video down in the description box for you guys to go check out how she suggested that you interpret it, but there is a little story that goes along with this that you can gain if you manage to do this prompt. I'm going to be tentatively accounting Zodiac Academy for this because I see it all over social media, but if I get time, I might read a little extra book for it as well. Tori has created this amazing story that goes along with all of these prompts, so let me share the little snippet that you're going to get if you manage to complete this prompt. This was a stupid idea. You accepted an invitation to this ball without even meeting your date. The mysterious note was too alluring. Who does that? Sends an invitation without a hint of their identity. Your eyes casually pursue the suits and dresses down below. Finding a secluded balcony to get a vantage point was priority number 1. You hear footsteps behind you, only to turn and see a shadow gliding down the hall. Oh, it's cat and mouse tonight? You slip your hidden dagger from your palm. Time to have some fun. I love that. I absolutely have to get that prompt because, incredible, amazing. But I am halfway through The Reckoning. This is just like a silly, goofy, no brain kind of time, and right now I'm really vibing with it. It's just kind of still setting up our characters and setting up kind of where they are in the Zodiac Academy, and I do feel like it's a little bit long. I do think it kind of feels very repetitive of the first 2 books, and I'm waiting for there to be more going on that makes it seem like this needs to be, a 9-book series and 700-800-page books. But I'm still having fun. I'm still enjoying my time here. I think that there are lots of good relationships forming. I think that there are going to be different characters that are in game, but right now I'm like team kind of the characters that are in game and team kind of the characters that are not. And I'm having the best time and cannot wait to see how all of this is going to shake out. I'm living for the forbidden romance in here, and honestly, the sniping and the snarking is just so like, I don't know, teenage, young adult, like relatable. And while it can be a little bit cringe, it's still really, really fun. This book is reading incredibly quickly though, so I am hoping that I can get it finished tonight. The audiobook says I have about 2.5 hours left, but I do still have like a solid halfway to go in this, so we shall see. So I tried filming this clip while I was in the car this morning and it was just way too bright, so I could not do it, but we're gonna do a really quick office clip to close out this vlog. I enjoyed Zodiac Academy a lot. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star. It definitely needed to be a little less repetitive. I felt like it was very reminiscent of the first two books where we were kind of doing the same thing over and over again, the bullying and kind of going to class and everything, and I'm looking for a little bit more plot from it overall, but I still had a great time. I was able to just vibe and enjoy it. We got a little bit more of the romance and the cat and mouse and the back and forth, and that was just so much fun. And I definitely will be continuing on in the series, but I do need it to give me a little bit more of a plot because I don't think I can read 9 books of the same thing over and over and over again, but I am having a lot of fun with it. It's wild, it's just highly entertaining, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. I do wish it was a YGs though, because we've got some really good men in here and I don't see why they have to pick personally. But Tori has not yet put up the like graphics and everything, so I'll have to show you guys later who I'm going to be bringing for the backlist prompt, but we are going to be moving on to day 3 of Romantasyathon here very soon, and I cannot wait to figure out what I'm going to be reading for the next prompt. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me your zodiac sign down in the comments below. As always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!